Good evening, Mizzou fans. Welcome in to State of the Tigers here on PowerMizzou.com, the first losing edition of the show this season. But the show's not losing, just Missouri lost. So we're still going to be winners here tonight. Gabe and Cody Goodwin will join me in a minute. Want to remind you that we are brought to you every single Monday night by our friend and my insurance agent, James Carlton, State Farm Insurance in Webster Groves, Missouri. You can get a hold of him at carltoninsurance.net. Give him a call at 314-961-4800. James doing some NIL stuff with Missouri this year. Maybe he can tell you why Kevin Coleman only had one catch on Saturday. He's doing some stuff with maybe James can diagnose this one for you. Cody Goodwin on the screen now. All moved in, a backdrop, a microphone, like a real grown-up in Columbia, Missouri. So congratulations on that.
Took us about a week-ish or so to finally get everything out of the box. I don't know that everything's officially in its place, but at least we know what we have and everything is in front of us. Not unlike the Missouri football team. Even though they lost, everything's still very much in front of the Tigers.
So, I kind of tried to, sometimes my 10 thoughts on Monday are just me processing things in real time. Okay, let me see what I think about this. And I'm like Michael Scott. I just start the sentence and I don't really know where it's going to go till I write it. Do you feel 2 days after that one, better or worse about Missouri's season than you did on Saturday morning?
Better. And I think after, I don't know, sometimes it takes a minute to really take a step back and have the full, okay, what's the 5,000-foot view here? What did we actually learn? How did they actually play? That's one of the benefits of doing the rewatch every Monday, is that I really get to kind of see everything again, and I get to pay attention closer to the details that I maybe couldn't have, or maybe we didn't see on Saturday. They played a heck of a game, man. It was a good game to watch in person live. It was a good game to watch, I guess, watch again, because then I got to see okay, I knew what plays were coming. I knew what specifically to look for, what were the mistakes? How did the mistakes unfold? What did they do well? How did that ultimately, and then same thing for how did Alabama execute all of their stuff? I think after the rewatch, I still feel pretty good about this Missouri team. Now, I think what's interesting, and I said this in the postgame show on Saturday, I'm very curious to see how they respond. And it's kind of coach speak to use the phrase competitive spirit, but what is Mizzou's response to this adversity, right? What's the attitude going to be like in the building this week? We get to talk to Drink and the gang tomorrow. What are they going to say about what they saw on film? What are they going to say about, the whole Toughness Tuesday thing? What is the vibe going to be like in that building? Because now not only did you lose, and so there's adversity from that standpoint, but you have to go on the road for the first time this season. And it's not an easy place to play down in Jordan-Hare Stadium, to play an Auburn team that, yes, is 3-3, but their 3 losses have been very close to teams that we consider to be pretty good. And it's scrappy. They're talented, right? If you use 24/7's team talent composite, this is a better roster than what Missouri has, right? And you could argue that that's probably an inexact science, but I think it does speak to the caliber of player that Auburn has on their roster and what Missouri is going to have to deal with, again, on the road. So I feel pretty good about the way they played. We can go through it, and we probably will. Just a game like that is decided on the margins, and Alabama just made a few more plays, which allowed them to leave with a 3-point win. But I'm also very curious to see how this Missouri team responds. If they're truly the team that they believe themselves to be, and that you and I probably think they can be, they'll go take care of business this week. If not, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, we're having a different conversation if they lose this weekend, no question. We'll get to that later in the show. And your guys' comments, we're seeing them in the chat. Billy will pop them up here and there. We'll save questions for the last 20 minutes or so, but please do put them in there and we will get to them. So here's kind of what I wonder. If for people who do say they feel better, and you said you felt better, how much of the feeling better is due to, well, the other jersey said Alabama, right? Everybody said no moral victories, but how much of the I feel better is hey man, we can play with Alabama. I get that. There is sense in that. But I almost And I felt this way immediately after the game, and I think I feel more this way 48 hours later. You didn't really make out like that was your chance. You had that chance to beat Alabama, and you didn't really make them beat you. You kind of helped them along that, like we said, had Missouri played a B game, they win that game. If you have a day against Alabama when you can play a B game and win, I think it's actually more disappointing that you played a C game. Like, the chance was there and they didn't do it. I don't feel worse about the team. Like, I think it's good that they can play a C game and not get blown out by Alabama. But I just wonder how much of the I feel better is like A, positive self-talk. Like, I feel better because I want to make myself feel better. But also B, just like still a little bit of, well, that's Alabama. And so we weren't really supposed to compete with them. So I feel differently about it.
I think there's probably some truth to that, but I think also Alabama did not play an A or even I would argue a B game either. Like, I think at best you could say that both teams played a B- game.
Right, and which is why they gave you the chance and you didn't take advantage of it.
No,
like, there's going to be a lot of games where you play Alabama and it's an A game and you're kind of screwed.
Right. And for a while, we kind of thought that we were seeing an A game from Alabama, right? Their first 3 drives, like they piled up almost 150 yards, scored 17 points. And we all kind of looked at each other like, right. And then they, Mizzou gave the ball back and we were like, all right, what's this going to look like?
But no, Mizzou was on the verge in the second quarter. There's no question.
Yeah, it was teetering. It was teetering. But hey, give Mizzou a little bit of credit for punching back, for finally the offense settling down and going on that drive before halftime to score some points. A lot of that was because Jamal Roberts finally popped a big run, but that was, I'll give Drink credit. Like he said, they had to be stubborn about the run game. And I think they were in the first half. And that's what led to that 39-yard run by Jamal Roberts. I think what makes me feel good about Missouri and maybe just about the performance is that, and we'll probably get into this, a lot of the mistakes that they made, at least on their face, are fixable, right? Like a lot of it is on Bo Pribula, the quarterback, right? He made a lot of mistakes. I think we're all in agreement, or at least you and I are, that it was significantly, the miscues that Mizzou made significantly more on Bo's lack of execution as opposed to the play calling. We can nitpick the play calling here and there, but vast majority of the mistakes that they made that set them up in disadvantageous situations were because Bo did not execute. I think we can agree on that. I have come back to Drink saying over and over again that Bo does not make the same mistake twice. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that fixing those mistakes comes after film review and, okay, hey, here's what you did, do this. Here's what you did, do this. Now, he's got to go out and prove that to us, right? Because there were a lot of mistakes in this game, a lot of mistakes that could have been very easy, I think, execution issues. Like there were a lot of times, like I wrote it in the rewatch, where he had a guy wide open and just flat missed the throw. And some of it could have been because of miscommunication. Other times, like he just decided to pass up the easy throw for the harder throw. Like there were multiple times where Brett Norfleet was wide open underneath. And if you just throw him the ball on first down, it becomes 2nd and 5. And that is so much more manageable than 2nd and 10 or at times 2nd and 12, right? And it's not just Bo. There were a lot of people that did not execute that ultimately led to Alabama winning this game. But a lot of it kind of came down to Bo. And so until they show us otherwise, which, hey, college football moves fast, right? They get to show us on Saturday night what all they learned from this game specifically. I'm willing to at least give them the benefit of the doubt that Drink told us that Bo does not make the same mistake twice. Now it's time to legitimately put that to the test on the road against a pretty good or at least talented Auburn team to see if he truly learned from his mistakes. I feel good because the mistakes are correctable. He's got to go do it. But I at least felt good about that rewatching the game.
Okay, so that like every coach says that, right? What would have to happen for a coach to get up and say, yeah, these problems aren't fixable? Like, yeah, I get every problem's correctable if you play better. Like the solution to Bo is not complex. It's play better, man. Like, make better decisions and better throws. But like, I get that it's fixable because they're all SEC scholarship athletes. But I've personally always found that expression a little bit hollow. Like, fix it then.
Well, I think, and I wrote this in the rewatch too. Like a lot of the things that he didn't do well on Saturday are things that we've seen him do well before, like the quick hitters to Norfleet underneath, right? Like he has done that in the previous 5 games, and he also did it at times on Saturday, being on the same page with his receivers. There were a couple times, like both the seam routes that got picked off, like part of that was him kind of locking onto his first read, or he knew exactly where he was going to go with the ball and just kind of dialed in on that receiver. But also the touchdown pass to Alugbade, I don't know that I wrote this in the rewatch, but I made a note of it. It looked like that play specifically, he was looking for Kevin Coleman first. Coleman slipped on his route. He ended up still being open, but because he slipped, Bo went to his next read. Alugbade was open in the back of the end zone. So like we've seen him go through his progressions. We've seen him get the ball out quick. We've seen him not panic. That's, I think, another reason why I'm of the belief that he can fix this. But also at the same time, he's got to go prove to us that he can do it. And the schedule only gets tougher from here on out because 4 of their final 6 games are on the road. And it's different playing on the road in the SEC. And he's about to find out just how tough that really is.
Billy, if you could put up Scott's comment that I just starred. This is kind of the point, right? Scott says lack of talent isn't fixable. All mistakes are fixable if you have the ability to fix them. So I guess what it comes down to is, like, you don't believe any of this is a lack of ability. It's a lack of execution, which I think I agree with largely. So, and I was also going to say, I thought you brought up a good point. Like, Missouri lost this game on first down. And it wasn't just incomplete passes. There were a lot of 2-yard runs on first down. And that put them in 2nd and 8. And that kind of meant they were throwing more than they wanted to, or a decent run was still putting them in 3rd and 4. And that's not the position they want to be. And they lost this game on first down. But okay, if we agree it's not a lack of talent, like, and yes, we're focusing on Bo a lot, but I think we're doing it because most people know that was the difference in that game. Like you said, not the only difference, but the biggest one. So why do you think Saturday went the way it did?
Alabama just made a few more plays on the margins, right? And it's not like
the plays specifically for Bo. Like, why did he look the way he looked when we've seen him look so much better than that, do you think?
Your answer to that is as good as mine. Your guess to the answer to that is as good as mine. It could be a big game pressure thing. It could be the fact that it was like the first time he was playing a team that is like legit capable of winning a national title, which is not entirely true, right? He was part of that Penn State team last year. He wasn't there when they made the run to the semifinals, but like he was on that roster, like he played in those big games. So I don't know. I think maybe now that he has that big game feel, that will help him, right? Like just the fact that he has experienced it should help him moving forward. But yeah, I mean, to Scott's point about lack of talent isn't physical, I think that's probably a different conversation because it's easy to look at Alabama and like they had Ty Simpson, right? And Ty Simpson was better than Bo on this day. He was 100%. And the plays that Bo wasn't able to make, Ty was able to make, right? Like they converted 3 4th downs, and 2 of those I would argue were specifically because Ty Simpson was able to make plays, right? There was the rollout one where Toriana Pride had to make a decision and he was able to flip it to Jam, first down tied. And then the 4th and 8 after the 3rd and 24, like Ty just dropped that throw in a bucket. Like, I'm not sure, like we've seen Bo make a lot of really, really good throws through his first 6 games. Like, I mean, even the throw to Brett Norfleet at the beginning of the game, great throw. Ty Simpson is capable of making some throws that I'm not sure Bo can make. And the only reason I say that is because I have not seen him make them yet. Right. And it's just, yeah, I ultimately, yes, it comes down to the quarterback is the most important position on the field. Alabama had a dude that could make a few extra plays that Bo could not. And so if you want to lean on that, sure. I think it lacks some full context because there were some other marginal plays that Alabama won that caused Mizzou to lose the game. But yes, that's obviously a big part of it.
All right. So I want to give you 2 possibilities. The first one, look, I don't know this. It is, I think, a legit concern. I think it's possible that the throws that he made against Kansas, against South Carolina, and I almost hesitate to even count the other 3 teams, are like sometimes you see plays early in the season where you go, Like Ahmad Hardy's 71-yard touchdown run against Louisiana. I think we all knew that's not a touchdown in the SEC. Like SEC guys get him before he's still a good run, but SEC guys get him before he scored. So I wonder if the processing speed, the arm strength, whatever, or if guys were just so open, like we maybe got fooled by some plays that, oh, when you're playing a good SEC defense, that like you can't make that play. You specifically can't make that play.
I think that there's some truth to that. He was able to make plays against South Carolina, and people are going to roll their eyes. South Carolina's defense is not Alabama's defense. I totally get it. Which is where I think the experience of having played Alabama is going to serve Bo better moving forward, or at least I think he'll improve from it, right? Like, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what it's like to play in the SEC week after week after week until you finally go do it, right? So I think this experience will help him. I don't know how much it will help him. I know that he's a better quarterback than what he showed on Saturday, but that's what makes the moving forward part of this conversation so intriguing. What does Bo learn from this? Can he learn to settle down and do the things that we know he can do? There was everything he screwed up, all of his mistakes on Saturday. I didn't think there was anything that the coaching staff asked him to do. It wasn't like they asked him to do something he couldn't do. Everything he screwed up on, he can do, and we've seen him do it, whether it's against South Carolina or Central Arkansas, and at times he did it against Alabama. Like, they don't put up 24 points without Bo on a lot of those scoring drives, right? Like the first drive, I know it was a lot of runs, but that was a really pretty throw to Brett Norfleet, right? Being able to read the defense, go through your progressions, and hit a Lugude in the back of the end zone. There was, like, he shook Bray Hubbard, who I think is All-American caliber, in the open field to score a touchdown. Like, there were a lot of good things that Bo did, but also we're going to harp on the mistakes because, again, this team believes that they're capable of really special things. So we're going to view them through that lens. So we're going to be a little bit more nitpicky. But yeah, also I think, moving forward, going to Auburn and, getting to a chance to improve on the road against a pretty good defense. We'll get into that later, I'm sure. That's where this thing gets interesting. Like, how good are you really, Bo? Like, you finally got punched in the mouth. Right. Can you get back up and throw the punch back?
Right. I'm not burying him. But like this is the first adversity he's faced. So let's go see how he responds to it. All right. Now, the other thing I'm going to bring up, Billy, I think the comment was from Floyd the Barber. It's starred in there, if you can put it up. And I hesitate, but like, I think it's fair at this point. And I understand I won't get an answer, but I may even ask Eli Drinkwitz about it tomorrow, because look, the rumors came up after the Kansas game, and they were not quiet, and a lot of people heard them, that something was going on with Bo's hand. Well, he came out the next week and he played well, and then he came out the week after that and he played, and so everybody assumed everything was fine. But this is 3 straight games under 200 yards. There are a few passes high. Like, I don't know. Is it time we entertain this as a possibility? Not that it's broken, not that, I mean, look, he's obviously playing through it, whatever, even if it exists. So I don't think they're going to tell us about it. But like, the first 2 games were different.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fair to be skeptical, right? And he did have a few throws sail on him, whether it was just poor decision making or like both of the interceptions. I think the second one was a little bit better in terms of on target, but like the first one, like even if Kevin Coleman had turned his head around, like that ball was nowhere near where he was going to go, right? So he had a few passes sail on him. He might have a problem with throwing high. I don't know if it's an indication of a hand injury, but I mean, it's always fair to be skeptical, right? But I think there's also the level of, like, that's Alabama's defense is pretty good. Alabama's secondary specifically is very good. And so is he maybe thinking too much through ball placement? Is he trying to keep it high so that the defenders don't get it? And it just so happened that on the 2 picks, the ball sailed too high and into the arms of a defender, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's always fair to be skeptical. We can ask. I think you and I both know we're probably not going to get a straight answer. Like, it's going to be one of those things where if something funny is going on, it'll be like the Stanley Cup playoffs. We won't hear about anything until the season is officially over, and then the laundry list of injuries will come out.
Like, that has happened 3 years in a row here, that the quarterback here has been hurt, and they've said nothing during the season. Now, in a couple of cases, like, we knew it, but they still, no, he's fine. He's out there, so is that possible? Yeah, I think it would be disappointing, but like, we don't know, guys, and nobody's going to say it. But because the last thing they want to do is say, yeah, he's got a little thing going on with his hand, and then opposing teams know it. I mean, the most they would say is, hey, everybody's beat up this time of year. Nobody's fully healthy. Like, that's the answer we'll get if we ask.
Yeah. No, nobody's 100%.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know if it's worth it. Let me go to the one, and Javon, appreciate the super chat, man. Looked like he was second guessing himself. He looked a little hesitant. Now, I'll be honest, there were times in the past few weeks I just thought the only question I've had is the processing speed, right? Are you doing this quickly enough for when you face Alabama, for when you face A&M, Oklahoma? Oklahoma's not a great team, but it's got a great defense. And so that's a fair point, Javon. Let me bring up the one scheme thing, because I saw somebody mention it in the chat, and I wrote about it this morning. Missouri has thrown 12 passes, 20 yards or more from the line of scrimmage this year, like in the air. They went about 220 minutes without a 20-yard completion to a wide receiver.
Oof.
Why? Like, every other team in the league has thrown at least 6. I'm sorry, Missouri's thrown 14. Every other team in the league, I think, has thrown at least 18, some as many as 33. Like, Missouri has thrown fewer deep balls than any team in this league. And I don't know if it's the offense. I don't know if they think the quarterback can't do it. Like last year, we talked about how little Missouri threw the ball deep. They're throwing the ball deep nearly 1.5 fewer times per game this year than they did last year.
I find that to be really intriguing, because I know during the UMass game specifically, they tried to do some play action stuff, and UMass just kept a safety, at least possible, usually 2 over the top to try and eliminate that. So Bo did a lot of check down stuff, and on the receivers and pass catchers had a lot of yards after the catch in that game. So part of that can be like, yeah, UMass just wasn't giving it to us. And even Bo said after the fact that Central Arkansas was like, they were just playing man defense, and we had dudes that were faster than their dudes, right? So that leads to chucking the ball deep a little bit more. I think the opportunities were there to throw it further down the field against Alabama. Like, I think like on the last play where he got picked off, if he would have gone through his progression, and he had time, so he probably could have, but never know what's going through a QB's head. Kevin Coleman was open, I think, down the right side. And there were a couple other, like the miss to, what was that, Marquise Johnson? Like early in the game, where the throw just totally sailed on him. Like, for the conspiracy theorists that believe he has a broken hand, like that probably doesn't help things. Or at least it helped them, at least. So, because the throw was just like, we even saw, like, as soon as it came out of his hands, we were just like, where in the world is that ball going?
Yeah, I just thought, how did that land there?
Yeah. So it's just there, there were a couple of opportunities. I thought that, like, maybe Bo just didn't want to. Yeah, Tyler's right. You have to at least try. So is Auburn maybe the defense to correct, so to speak, the deep ball issues? I'm not 100% sure. I know their pass defense can be had a little bit. So Gunnar Stockton just threw for 200 yards against him. So we'll see. But I think just the lack of attempts is a little intriguing. And I wonder if it's just at some point in the evolution of the offense, they'll start trying to throw the deep ball a little bit more, or maybe they just don't feel like they need to because they have 2 running backs that can break all the tackles.
But here's the thing. Like, I'm not a defensive coordinator, and I'm not an offensive coordinator. These people all know way more football than I do. I know one thing. A defense cannot both clog the box to stop the run and play a shell to stop the pass. Like, if that defense existed, everyone in football would play it, because it would stop both things you're trying to do. You have to give up something. So even if the argument would have been the first few weeks, hey, everybody's sitting back so we don't get a big play on them, I promise that's changing starting Saturday. The teams are just they're going to come up and they're going to say, Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts are not going to beat us. Bo's not going to beat us with his legs. If you want to beat us, you are going to have to throw the ball over our heads. If this team wants to get anywhere near where it wants to get, I'm not even talking if they want to win 10. If they want to win 8 or 9, they're going to have to start doing that. So
it needs to at least be a threat. And the more I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure that Auburn particularly is going to be the best team to want to try that against, because they're really good up front against the run. I haven't obviously watched a ton of their games, but I know that their D-line and their front 7 specifically, very good against the run. So I don't know if they're going to try deep shots, but like, this is another, I mean, you talk about the opportunity for
you got to try like 3.
You got to at least try to keep the defense honest, right? Like at least like have Marquise Johnson out on the outside or Olubade out on the outside and just let him run deep and just win the win sprint at the very least. Like beat the guy that's across from you. And even if Bo can get it to you, great. If not, like at least like chuck it all the way to the other pylon just to prove that you can and to put a little bit of fear into the defense so that it just loosens them up a little bit for Hardy and Roberts. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's the transition into the Auburn game because they have a pretty good run defense. So they might be a team that's able to not necessarily stack the box to, fight the run and still have bodies back in the pass game to frustrate Bo a little bit.
Yeah, they did. They did try 3 deep passes against Alabama. Technically, Bo was 2 for 3. A 27-yarder down the middle and a 25-yarder down the right sideline. That one they were both to Olubade actually. In the fourth quarter, the one they missed was the first quarter one to Marquise Johnson. Those were the only 3 deep shots they took. I'm trying to go through some other games. PFF's website honestly is going pretty slow right now, so it's not being very helpful to me.
Great podcasting.
Right. We'll get to Auburn in a minute. Defense, look, I feel better about the Missouri defense than I did before that game. Like, I actually think outside of 2 plays, the last 3 quarters of that game were phenomenal defense.
Yeah. Like this Missouri's defense is good. Like Missouri's defense is really good. And yeah, they got diced up a little bit in that first quarter and Alabama beat them in a few different ways because one, they have a quarterback that can make some throws that you just can't defend. Like you just tip your cap to some of those throws. The touchdown pass to Isaiah Horton, it's like, okay, like what are you supposed to do? The 4th down pass to Lottie Brooks, there's just like Toriano Pride had perfect coverage. Like, I don't know what more you want out of that. Like, and he had a few throws like that. Like he had a few bullets that he was able to find tight window throws and was able to hit on some of that. And, he's also a little bit mobile. We saw him flash his wheels a little bit, not a ton, but like the pass rush was getting home with just 4 guys pretty regularly, pretty consistently. Now, did Batoon call some blitzes and some fun stuff to help generate some of that pressure to loosen up a little bit so that Missouri could consistently get home with 4 in the second half? Yes, a little bit of that, but they really didn't blitz a ton. Like they really just said, Damon Wilson, pin yours back and go. Like these tackles can be had. And there were a couple times where he cleanly beat the right tackle, or they were able to get enough pressure to force Ty Simpson out and the linebackers were able to dive in and clean it up. And honestly, like the thing that worried me the most was the secondary, specifically like the defensive backs and the safeties against Alabama's receivers. And yes, Alabama didn't really have the full use of Ryan Williams, who's their 5-star superstar, who's now 18 years old this season. But I thought the secondary held up just fine. Like I thought Toriano Pride was great in coverage. I thought Stephen Hall had some fun moments. I thought that the defensive backs, even when Burks went out because of the targeting and who was it? Santana Banner came in. Like you and I have talked about this kind of quietly. Santana Banner, really good football player, like really good football player. When he's on the field, you guys should be happy because that dude can play ball. I thought the secondary was good. Like I thought the defensive backs did as well as could have been reasonably asked. Sometimes you just get beat by a better quarterback and you have to live with it. But ultimately, I thought that like passes were contested. They made it hard on Alabama's receivers. They made them earn almost every single yard down the field. Like Ty Simpson threw for 200 yards. That's a season low for him. And that's the guy that's leading the Heisman race. Like I thought the defensive backs did good. I thought the defense overall did really, really good. And I agree with you. I think it was only like 2, 3, maybe 4 plays max, if you really want to nitpick it, that they truly just got beat by better players on the other side. Otherwise, really good game from the defense. That's a really good defense. You guys should have a lot of confidence in them.
Agreed. I think it is good enough to keep Missouri in every game. I think it kept Missouri in that game. While you were talking about the defense, I got the website to work and I went through game by game. I am not going to quiet the conspiracy theory here. In the first 2 games, Bo Pribula was 4 for 7 throwing balls beyond 20 yards. In the last 4 games, he is 3 for 7. That included 0 attempts against Massachusetts, but 7 attempts in 4 games, like 3 of those against Bama. They're not even trying. They got to try it at some point.
Yeah, because there's only so much like middle of the field, like short pass is fine. Like a lot of teams, in Missouri included, use that as kind of an extension of the run game. So the short passes are always going to be there. The middle of the field, like that between 10 and 20 yards, like being able to get those out, those are important. You got to at least threaten Like, I don't even know that you need to connect on those long, deep passes, but you at least need to threaten and show like, hey, you know, like a blind squirrel might find a nut every once in a while. Like, you better be careful.
You know why those big plays, why coaches always talk about how important explosive plays are? Because college offenses generally, if you make them go 12 plays, they're going to screw one of those plays up. Somebody's making a mistake, whether it's the quarterback, the receiver, somebody's screwing up somewhere along the line. So that's why so many defenses play this bend but don't break style. They just say, we're going to make you go 14 plays, 70 yards, and we think you'll screw something up along the way. And most of them do. So that's why it's not sustainable. You're not going 10-2 in the SEC if you aren't even attempting to throw the ball deep ever.
Yeah, they need to at least try to at least instill even a little bit of fear in the opposing defense. If you can't do that, then it's just life's going to get so much harder on Hardy and Roberts if you cannot do that.
You know what? At some point, do it on 3rd and 8. Just do an arm punt. Just at least because maybe it'll work. But like so what? If you get it picked off, so what? It doesn't really matter. Yeah. We spent way more time looking back at that one than I meant to, but like it's a big game and it was there. And I think Missouri fans are still kind of processing that one, you know. So I do want to just take the first look at the next 2 weeks, and do want to remind you before we do that information has been scrolling across the bottom of the screen, but make sure to get in touch with James Carlton. James could probably just use a call and say, hey, James, I'd really like to buy some insurance from you. I know you're probably feeling down. I know you were sad that Missouri lost to Alabama. Could I maybe give you some business? Would that make you feel a little bit better? So to go to carltoninsurance.net, call them at 314-961-4800. Tell them we sent you. We'd appreciate that, because at least then he knows people are paying attention. All right, Auburn, like, just flat out must-win game?
Yeah, 100%. I think if this team truly believes that they're the team they think they can be, you go on the road and you take care of business against a team that has been competitive but has yet to win an SEC game. Like, you have to go take care of business here if you truly are the team you believe you are. And it's one of those things where it's like, you don't even have to look good doing it, to be honest. Like, you go down there and play a C game. As long as you get the win on the road in the SEC, like, you got to find a way to collect and find wins here. And if you're able to do that on the road, more power to you.
Auburn makes teams play ugly. Like, I don't think it's going to be a pretty game. I don't think Missouri will score more than 24 in this game. Nobody scored more than 24, at least in SEC play. Baylor only scored 24. I'm not sure Auburn's given up more than 24. They can actually play defense. Their offense is, despite having freak show NFL receivers, their offense is an absolute train wreck. I mean, they can't get them the ball. Jackson Arnold continues to just hang on to the ball for 6 hours in the pocket. I think the defense has given up 10 sacks twice this year, maybe. I know that, or the offensive line, I'm sorry, has given up 10 sacks twice. I know they did it against Oklahoma. Oklahoma's the number one defense in the country, and they just absolutely made life miserable for Jackson Arnold. But Missouri's number 2 defense in the country, and they can do the same thing.
Yeah, Missouri has proven time and again that they can get after the quarterback. So you feel good about that side of the ball, but where Missouri is strong offensively, running the football, Auburn's really good at defending the run. They're allowing less than 100 yards per game. That run defense, and really the defense as a whole, specifically the front seven. I know their pass defense can be had a little bit if you just look at the raw numbers, but their front seven is a large reason why Auburn has been able to stay in a lot of these games. Like, they've lost their last 3 games. Like, let's not, like, all 3 of them have come in a row. 24-17 to Oklahoma in Norman, 16-10 against A&M in College Station, and then they lost last Saturday to Georgia, 20-10. They led Oklahoma and Georgia in the second half of those games, and they were within 13-10 of the Aggies in the fourth quarter.
And like, you can make the argument that they should be 2-1 with decent officiating.
Yeah, you can. don't get Auburn.
It's not a hard argument to make.
Don't get them started on some of the calls that they've had to deal with through SEC play, especially the Oklahoma game and then obviously that Georgia game. Like, they are Hugh Freeze is probably camped out the SEC offices in Birmingham just to at least get just to be heard at the very least.
He could legitimately lose like a $7 million a year job for no other reason than the refs screwed him twice.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that I get watching, again, I haven't watched all 6 of their games, but I paid quite a bit close attention to the game against Georgia just because, hey, shout out an 11 a.m. kick. We're able to get home and watch the night games, right? And I was able to pay a close attention to the Oklahoma game. But this is an Auburn team that is going to beat somebody at some point. They are going to maybe not wreck a season, but they are going to throw a wrench into somebody's season at some point. Like I think they have
the talent. Beat Missouri, it's wrecking the season.
At this juncture of the season, perhaps. So you don't want to be the team that ultimately loses to Auburn. Like at 3-3, I wonder where they're at between the ears now, because it's like your 3 losses, all 3 of them are in SEC play. You're probably not going to Atlanta. This team was a far cry from the college football playoff conversation anyway, but there's talented players on this team. You mentioned the receivers. They've got some cyborgs like Cam Coleman, who I love watching play. They have dudes on the defense. Like this is a dangerous game for Missouri. That said, Missouri is talented enough to go take care of business here, and they need to. It's a must win, but it's also a game that like Missouri can win this, and they can win it. Maybe not easily, but they are plenty talented enough to go down and take care of business.
Auburn strikes me as the team that's going to end this season 5-7 or 6-6 and talk about how close they were to being a 10-win team. And while they're not wrong, the good teams win more of those games than they. If you are consistently losing a game by 1 score, at some point that has something to do with you. Like bad teams lose games like that. I would like to see 2 things in this game from Missouri, and they're related. First of all, like you mentioned, Auburn's front seven's good. Let Bo show me something here. Go out and show some confidence in the kid in the first quarter. Take a couple shots, put the ball in the air, because first of all, if you go 3 and out a couple times, Auburn's not running away and hiding from you. Like they're not capable. So you can sputter a little bit and you'll be okay. But the other thing is, if you hit a couple of those, if Missouri jumps out 2 scores in this game, there is a chance Auburn quits. Like at some point, we almost got there and we didn't get there catches up with you. And by no means am I comparing this Auburn team to the Missouri basketball team that went 0-19. Like Auburn is better than that. But watching that team, like Drew King and I would watch games and they would have an 8-point lead. And then there would be one play with like 13 minutes left in this first half. And we would go, oh, there's the play. Like you just knew the tide was turning. At some point, teams that are losing expect bad things to happen to them. So if you can jump on a team like that early, they're going to start thinking, here we go again.
Yeah, well, and I think we saw that a little bit, and I'm sure you'll reach out to the Auburn undercover guys. So I'll be curious to listen and hear their perspective on this. But like Auburn was up 10-0, and the play in question, like they were going in about to go up 17-0. It was ultimately called a fumble. Georgia didn't even take that fumble back for points on that specific play. Like they ultimately settled for a field goal, I think, on their next possession. So it went from potentially 17-0 to 10-3, and Auburn basically quit. Like they kind of turtled up after that. Like that's a team that got punched in the mouth and just said, all right, well, that was fun while it lasted. And then I think they had 40 total yards of offense in the second half. So this is a team that has shown, at least in their most recent game, that if you come out and you punch them in the mouth and you punch them pretty hard, like I wonder if, to your point, like are they going to quit? I hope they don't, because I think they have good players and this could end up being a pretty competitive game. That said, if Missouri comes out fast, like that would bode really well for their odds of taking care of business in this game.
Yeah. And, like what said, they got 2 must-win games. I mean, because I just don't think you can go into those last 4 games of the season having to win them all to get to if they lose before the next bye week, I'm not going to say they can't make the playoff, but I am going to say it's time to quit talking about it for a minute.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
All right, Auburn this weekend, Vandy the next weekend. That's where we're at. We're at 7:40. We're at a good time to, Billy, just kind of open it up to the questions in the chat, because it's always, and like, look, I understand some of them are going to go back to the Alabama game, whatever. We'll talk about what you guys want to talk about. Makes more sense. Real quick before we do that, I do want to run down Eli Drinkwitz has been on a recruiting heater here. I didn't know, Cody, until we got home from dinner that Johnny Jones committed on Saturday. Like, it happened at some point, but like, we went to the game, we covered the game, we worked, we met some guys out for dinner. Then I got home at like 9 o'clock, and I was like, oh, hey, Missouri got another commitment. So I've never seen two guys commit in the middle of a game. That happened on Saturday.
The running joke was that they saw the opening script and said, yeah, we want a piece of that, and committed.
Right. And then they decommitted in the third quarter. No, so they got two guys on Saturday. Then they got two more today. They flipped Carter Stewart, a 3-star safety who had been committed to Utah, and then the other one is cornerback from Fayetteville, Arkansas, named Brody Jones, who had been committed to Cincinnati. He is now committed to Missouri. So the defensive backfield getting a boost. Johnny Jones is an offensive tackle. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it here because A, that's Sean's beat, and I didn't ask him to be on the show tonight. And B, like, look, guys, I don't know. Half of these kids might play for Missouri at some point. That's just kind of the reality of high school recruiting. But I did want to touch on it because I know some of you guys are interested in that. So let's go ahead, Billy, and start hitting questions from these guys so we can get out of here somewhere around 8 o'clock and go watch the Falcons win. Sean Kurtz, what does Missouri need to focus on for Auburn? Great defense all around, better than their 3-3 record says they are. I don't know if you have a key to the game yet. To me, it's, hey man, just keep bad teams down. Keep a losing team losing.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's going to be a tough run defense to go against. So I guess in that sense, it's a good opportunity for Bo to come out and show us, like, have you fixed your mistakes? Like, are you a little bit more poised now that you've felt what the heat of a real, not just really good SEC team, but a team that Alabama that we believe is probably going to be in the mix at the end of the year for both Atlanta and for the college football playoff? Like, now that you've got that experience under your belt, can you come out in a game like this against a team that's going to test you in various ways and respond and show that you can improve and show that you can hit those easy button throws, that you can be a little bit more dialed in, a little bit more focused than you were against Alabama, and just come out and play a good game in the way that we know you can. Like, I think in that sense, I'm looking for Bo to respond, and I want to see him play well in this game. And I think this is a defense that can be, there are elements of this defense that can be had, and Bo needs to take advantage.
Yeah, and one loss doesn't bury you. It's the beauty of college football now. Two can. Missouri comes out and lets that linger. If they come out for the first road game of the year for a second straight year and don't show up, like, that's something Eli Drinkwitz has to answer for. After what they did at Texas A&M in the first road game of the year, there are going to be a ton of questions about it tomorrow. They'll say all the right things, we'll see. But ultimately, the answer doesn't come until Saturday night. In Auburn, are we worried about Bo at all going forward? I don't know. What's your panic meter?
I'm at like a 3 right now. Like, again, circling back to what we said earlier, and I wrote it in the rewatch on Power Mizzou. Go check it out if you haven't read it yet. A lot of the mistakes that he made are fixable. A lot of the issues are things that he has done well before in the past, and even in this game. So I'd like to just see him come out, be a little bit more confident. I think somebody said earlier that he looked like he was playing timid. I think I would agree with that assessment. He was making things harder on himself that just didn't need to be. Like, just get the ball out quick when you know where you're going with the ball. Make sure that you're surveying the field properly. There's just little things that I just want to see him do to just make life a little bit easier on himself. Like I said multiple times on the postgame show and in the press box on Saturday, like, they're just not hitting the easy button. Like, after rewatching the game, the easy button was there quite a bit. Like, Bo just needs to hit it, help himself out, find free grass, right? Like, I'm still on that line again from Cole Kubik. Missouri was very, very good through the first 5 weeks of taking the free grass. They did not really take the free grass a ton against Alabama. And I think if they would have, there's a really good chance that game would have gone differently. So just come out, play easy, play fast, play confident. And I'm panic meter 2 or 3 right now. If he comes out and does a lot of the same dumb things and makes the same mistakes against Auburn, then we can have a real conversation on the post-game show on Saturday.
I think he is not as good as he looked in the first 2 weeks, but better than he looked last week. I think he's thinking a little bit right now. And he needs to, like, I know it's always counterintuitive, but stop thinking, just go play. If this is who he is, and let's point out some good, like, he was the leading rusher. He ran for 61 yards. He accounted for 3 touchdowns. It was not just a craptastic game. There were mistakes. But if this is who he is, 225 in total offense, couple touchdowns, but a turnover every game. Can Missouri win 10 games?
I was with you until you said turnover every game. Once you said turnover every game, I was like, man, you can't do that.
We're at 4 straight weeks, right? With the turnover?
5 if you count the fumble against Kansas, right?
Is it 5?
Yeah.
I mean, so we're looking at 1 a week right now. And oh, by the way, this team's fumbled 9 times and only lost 1 of them.
Yeah, that's 1, ridiculous luck, but 2, like, protect the dang ball, guys, high and tight. Like, high and tight.
That was a stat about the Buffalo Bills last year. Like, they had the best recovering their own fumble rates in NFL history. And so they're, the 1 seed, and then all of a sudden they get beaten. Like, that's nothing but luck. 9 fumbles and only losing 1 is incredible good. But that's another thing about Saturday. Like, Missouri got some bounces. They end up with, I think, 2 turnovers, but like they could have had 5.
They could have, but I think they also had some bounces go their way, right? Which is like, it always comes back to like on the margin.
But that's what I'm saying. Missouri got good bounces is what I'm saying. Missouri, I think, was probably, if you did like a luck factor, it leaned Missouri's way on Saturday more than Alabama's.
Yeah. I think I would agree with that.
So, he does need to get better. Scott Fitz, we've gotten this question a lot. What's with all the plays to the short side of the field? And look, I've asked football people about this before because I never understand like why you run somewhere where there's less room to maneuver, but also the answer is there are generally fewer people over there. So there's generally like you don't have as much room, but there's also fewer defenders over there. Like, I mean, there's got to be a reason because Missouri is not the only team that does it.
I'm not football smart enough to give the correct answer, but the answers that come to mind have to do with gameplay, right? Like I think about the genesis of football. You want your guys to move their guys out of the way so that your guy with the ball can move forward, right? And if you eliminate space, it becomes easier for your big guys to move the other guys out of the way. And I think also if you go to the short side of the field, it's less like if you go to open space, you're allowing more space for the other opposing team's athletes to basically outflash their speed. Right. If you go to the short side of the field, there's not as much space for those speedy guys to basically use their speed against you. And so those are the only things that really make sense to me. Sometimes I find it a little silly that they go to the short side of the field, but at the same time, like I get it from like a philosophical standpoint. There's probably a coach that's listening that can correct me on that, but.
Especially when your guys are Jamal Roberts and Ahmad Hardy, their forte is not, hey, I'm going to beat you to the boundary in this 35 yards of open space. Their forte is, hey, there's only 4 of you over here. We're going to block 2 of you. I'm going to run through 1 of you, and then only 1 of you is there left to make the tackle. So I think like, I understand the question. I do, because I think we all watch football games and we kind of wonder that too. Like, why are you going somewhere where there's not as much room? But like, Missouri kind of plays football in a phone booth anyway, to be quite honest. So
they would prefer that. Both their offensive and defensive of fronts, they would absolutely prefer to just like let's rustle this out, and they're going to fight you that way. Which is I don't know about you, that's fun to watch.
Yeah. Are we surprised that Ryan Williams? Possibly the best wide receiver in the nation. By the way, he's not the best wide receiver in the nation. I would argue he's not the best wide receiver on Alabama, but he's a very good player. Came away with 0 catches.
Not surprised. I know he was on the, I was about to say injury report, but availability report leading up to this game. So he's dealing with something. Also, Alabama has an embarrassment of riches at receiver, like Lottie Brooks, who caught that 4th down. Like he's a true freshman, guys, and he led Alabama in receiving, at least in terms of yardage. So they have Isaiah Horton, who's the Miami transfer. The best receiver on that Alabama roster, Jeremy Bernard, I think only finished with like 3 catches for like less than 30 or 40 yards or something like that. So like they got dudes on dudes on dudes at Alabama, man. Like and especially like Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb and Jamarcus Shepard, like those 3 coaches, specifically head coach, offensive coordinator, wide receivers coach, they know how to recruit athletes to come in and play receiver. Like the guy that took the targeting hit, Derek Meadows, that guy's a true freshman from Las Vegas. So like I'm not saying all of them are supplanting or are better than Ryan Williams, because I think all things being equal, Ryan Williams he's got the biggest star power and he's better than a lot of those guys, but they didn't need him. So like, hey.
Right. Well, and I'll say this too. Missouri secondary played better than I thought they could. Like I was largely impressed. And some of that was certainly scheme. Some of it, I'm sure, Corey Batoon clearly went into that game saying, "You're not going to beat us 30 yards at a time. Like you're going to have to beat us 5 yards at a time." And credit to Alabama, they did. But Toriano Pride on the 4th and 7, like he played that as well as he can, man. The one in the back of the end zone, like the only play that I remember thinking, "Oh my God," was the ball that I still am not sure how Stephen Hall didn't intercept at the goal line.
Yeah, that might be the one mistake, but like there's a reason they're defensive
right.
backs, not receivers,
like you're allowed a mistake. It's fine. Nobody's asking you to play a perfect game. I mean, yeah. I'm not. I can't say nobody's. No, I'm not.
No, I agree with you. Defensive backs played really, really well, and that was the position group I was most worried about, and they stepped up. Now I want to see them do it again. Like, not that this next upcoming game against Auburn is going to be a big challenge in that way, but like keep playing that way because you're capable of playing that way, right?
I mean, it will be a big challenge if you don't put pressure on Jackson Arnold. You should put pressure on Jackson Arnold, but Auburn and Texas A&M, like they got dudes at receiver, man. Like, I mean,
ass dudes.
I would argue at least the first string every bit as good as Alabama's receivers, maybe better.
I'd still, maybe it's because I covered the team, but I think I'd still take Alabama's receiver room. But I agree with you, like on the point. Yes, they're that talented.
All right. Aiden Whiting, is this Mizzou team a year early from being true contenders for the playoffs? So, look, I understand the question, Aiden. And I hope this does not come off as harsh. We all have to change the way we think. There is no next year. There is no building. You have no guarantee Ahmad Hardy's on this team. You have no guarantee Bo Perbula's on this team. You have no guarantee Damon Wilson's not in the NFL. Caden Green's not in the NFL. Donovan Alubide's back. Like, they can all just leave if they want to. There is no, hey, this guy's going to be really good in 2 years. It's simply about putting together the best roster you can this year. And look, I look around college football. Like, Cody, how many teams do you look at and say, I'm confident that team's making the playoff?
I can give you 4.
That's where I'm at.
Alabama, Ohio State, Indiana, and Miami. Those are the 4 that I'm like, they're probably in.
I would have replaced Alabama with Texas Tech because I'm not ready yet with the non-conference loss to say that, like, Alabama, I can still see. I think Alabama will make it, but I'm not ready to put them in that they should be in there. But let's say max 5, right?
I agree with Tech just because the Big 12 looks really stinky this year.
Right. Yeah. But the point is, like, we've been saying for a couple weeks, or I've been saying for a couple weeks, you maybe not because you're younger, but like it feels a little 2007-ish, not in terms of Missouri making that run, but in terms of like everyone has a shot. Like, I think there are 30 to 35 power conference fan bases that can look up here on October 13th and go, yeah, I can draw us a path there and it's not that hard. There's never a, well, maybe we can do it next year mentality anymore.
No, it's very similar. Like, this is people. There's a lot of people that like to make like incorrect comparisons between college football and the NFL. The idea that like this is your year, if you feel like you've got the dudes, you need to go get it now, is very similar, because there's like, I think of the NFL, like you don't know that all those guys are going to be back in the way they are. You don't know if the staffs are going to be there the way they are. If you have an opportunity to make a trade at the deadline, not that you can do that in college football, like you need to go all in and go like trade your picks away and go get it. Like Missouri, like you need to consider them a contender this year, because I'm outside of those 5 that I just mentioned, the 4 plus Tech. It's available to them. Like, they're able to go get it. And I think the other takeaway that I had from watching them, or at least rewatching the game against Alabama, is like, this roster is good enough to go to the playoff. They need to obviously win the games in order to qualify and get there, but this roster is plenty good enough. Like, they are absolutely able to get to the playoff, and same as March Madness. Once you get in the dance, anything is possible, but you got to find a way to get in the dance. This roster is absolutely capable of doing it.
And the difference between this and the NFL, like, it is easier in college because every year can be an all-in year in college. All you need is enough money. Like in the NFL, there is a salary cap. You are going to run into a year where, well, we just had to pay our quarterback $62 million a year, so we had to let some other guys go, and we picked 29th in 6 consecutive drafts. Like, okay, we need to reset, and this year is probably not a year you can go for it. Every year is an all-in year in college football, and if it's not, you're at the wrong program. Like, if you were at a program where they say, well, let's save 10 million this year so we can go all in next year, then the coach is going, hey, agent guy, get me somewhere where they'll spend the max every year.
Yeah. Well, and you look at the way that Missouri attacked the portal this past offseason, Bo, Ahmad Hardy, Kevin Coleman, Damon Wilson, Josiah Trotter, like they loaded up because they knew that this could be a pretty special year given the schedule, given the talent that they have, given the foundation culture that they've built over the last 6 seasons. Like they knew that this was going to be a big potential year for them. So they attacked the portal with that same vigor. So like that's like a year away. No, the year is now, and they're acting like it. They're talking like it. They need to play like it. And so far, I guess to this point they have, but there's still work to be done in that regard.
Right. And it's not just that everybody can leave. It's that like, we know Connor Tollison is gone. We know Chris McClellan is gone. We know Zion Young is gone. All the guys that you absolutely know are gone on this
Damon Wilson made himself a lot of money on Saturday.
After Saturday, I'd be shocked if Damon Wilson's here next year.
Yeah, that I said this on the board, and I'm sure some people.
But at least he has the option. Like he's the type of guy you can go to and go, hey, what if we get you $2 million? Will you stay? Now that may not be enough because maybe he'll rise up but like at least he has the option to come back. All those other guys I talked about, like even in this era of no rules, like they're just done, man. There's no more years left.
Yeah, at some point we'll have the NFL draft conversation with Damon Wilson. So like there is the possibility that maybe he comes back if he doesn't like where his draft position is. But like I'm pretty convinced that dude made some serious money. And I said this on the board, like he was the best player for Alabama on Saturday, bar none. I would argue, some people might push back on this because of Ahmad Hardy, but I would argue that Damon Wilson's probably the best pound for pound player on that roster.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Yeah,
I think it's fair. I think Josiah Trotter might be in that conversation too.
I'll listen to that. I'll listen to that because he was good on Saturday as well. He's been good all season, but we knew
that. Okay, Joe, kind of non-Mizzou question: who hires James Franklin?
Arkansas. They need a coach, right?
They do.
Maybe Florida. I don't know. Clark Lee might get a job after this thing at Vanderbilt, so maybe James Franklin can go back home.
Yeah, but like
he'll get to coach Pavia for 3 years.
I don't think people at Vanderbilt want James Franklin back, from what I've heard. Also, Clark Lee's like a Vandy alum, and like he seems to be actually getting money there. I'm not saying he wouldn't leave, but I don't know if it's automatic. If I were James Franklin, like this is the difference between me and college football coaches. If somebody calls me tonight and says, I'm going to offer you $49 million to walk away from Power Mizzou, you know how many more hours in my entire life I work? Negative 620.
I could do a lot of damage with $49 million.
I mean, I would buy a plane, throw away all my electronic devices. I would maybe tell you, Drew and Sean, I was leaving, but I would not tell the board I was leaving. I would not tweet. I would just be gone forever, and you would never hear from me again.
Being a fired college football coach is maybe one of the best jobs in America.
And like his contract, I was listening to Cover 3 today, and they said like there's offset language in there. So if he goes and gets another job, not only is he working, he is giving up a lot of that money. Why would you do this? Why would you either get paid $7 million a year to work or get paid $7 million a year to not work? I mean, this is not a difficult choice.
Great gig if you can get it.
Yeah, but they all want to coach, man. I don't know. Like, if you're Arkansas, do you call him?
I think you at least call him to have him tell you no. Because, like, I understand why Penn State got rid of him.
Do you think he would say no?
Well, I don't know. It's an opportunity to coach in the SEC. Like, I don't know if he has ties to Arkansas at all. Like, that was just an off the wall. They're going to need a coach. Florida might need a coach at some point. Like, Lane may leave,
right,
so
like
maybe
Franklin
they bring him to Ole Miss.
9 games at Vanderbilt. He's won in this league before.
Yeah, that was and that was during like Saban's dynasty too. So like,
yeah,
good football coach, just couldn't get over the hump, which, how many coaches actually have, right?
Yeah. All right, so we know Arkansas is open. How many other SEC jobs do we like? Auburn's possible. I think
their
Missouri
AD came out today with an exclusive with AL.com. Shout out to Pete and Jerry for getting that sit down. That it's vote of confidence season for Auburn.
Right. He said he expects him to be the coach next year.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday, if Missouri goes in there and wins 31-3, he may not expect that anymore.
Oh man, if Missouri slaps them around 38-3 or something crazy like that, like
right.
he will leave Jordan Hare and go to a golf course somewhere.
Like absolutely zero disrespect to the guys that like that. If you can get the AD to talk to you, you have to write that story. But the AD saying the coach is going to be back in week 6 means zero.
Vote of confidence season is usually the precursor to like he's at some point he will be let go, and it may be in the not so distant future.
And maybe he will coach next year, but this time next year, we may be all saying, why didn't they just do this last year? Like people were saying about Sam Pittman, like I think people are going to be saying about Billy Napier in a couple weeks.
They might. That was the other one that came to mind. Tyler put in the comments, possibly Kentucky, maybe. I don't know. Like, I know Mark Stoops has a low bar to clear, but even then he may not clear it this season. So that's right. I think that's at least a conversation point, but I think Florida for sure. Arkansas's already got a spot. I don't know. Like for whatever reason, Auburn's in that conversation. I feel like Lane will leave Ole Miss for Florida if Florida opens up. Like I want to say that is a possibility, which would then open up Ole Miss.
So I just had this conversation. I did a podcast with Neil McCready last week, and like, look, he would not be the first coach to lie, but Lane literally just sat with Ryan McGee on an ESPN documentary and like explained all the reasons he stayed at Ole Miss. And I love this place. And I needed Oxford more than Oxford needed me. And if he said all those things on a nationally televised documentary, and he takes a job in the same conference less than 6 weeks later, it is like an all-time heel turn.
Maybe Lane's grown up and he'll stay in Oxford. I don't know. He's probably the most successful coach they've ever had. I don't know deep into Ole Miss history.
Yeah,
I know that they're at a level of success now that I don't know that they've seen in a long time, if ever. But I don't know. I feel like coaches believe that they can turn any program around, right? And so, like, wouldn't Lane want to be like, I could win at Florida? Like, why not?
But kind of like we've talked about with Drink, like, I think Lane might have a better job than Florida right now. Or at least an equal job.
I think that's fair. The one counter that people will tell you is that Florida has won. Ole Miss has not. Like Ole Miss is fine winning 10 games a year, but Florida's got national championship trophies.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tie this to Eli Drinkwitz in a couple minutes to wrap this up, but there's 2 other ones. Any chance Brian Kelly's in trouble when they go 8-4 this year?
Can the offense score more than 20
points? I think they owe him like $22 trillion if they fire him. But
man, LSU finds buyout money in the trees down there. Like that's like if he doesn't get this act together, like I think if he wins 9 or 10, he's fine, but on the hot seat.
I'm not sure he's gonna win 9 or 10.
Like if it's only 8, like I guess it depends on what it looks like if he gets to 8 wins. And like I don't know, man. I don't know. That's an interesting one because LSU boosters find the money somewhere if they don't like the football coach.
All right, I've got one more for you. If Oklahoma loses at South Carolina this weekend, I think it is possible for 5-0 to become 5-7. And if that happens, I would not feel very comfortable where I coach Venables.
If 5-0 becomes 5-7, Venables, I would be nervous if I were him. I think the defense will be fine against South Carolina. I know it's a road game in the SEC, and we just got done talking about how hard that is, but I think they'll be fine there.
Score at all, man.
No, but I don't like. I wonder if they rushed Mateer back and like they probably should have just leaned on Michael Hawkins. I'm not sure if he would have been good enough to beat that Texas defense because that Texas defense is very good, but like they wouldn't have thrown 3 picks, I don't think. And so I don't know. Like, are you just going to ride Mateer the rest of the way? If so, 5-0 can become 5-7 real quick because he did not look very good on Saturday.
Yeah. All right, so I promised I would tie this all to Eli Drinkwitz. I want to do that real quick here because we are going to answer this question every day. I will tell you guys, I expect Eli Drinkwitz to get a call from Penn State. It may have already happened. I expect Eli Drinkwitz, if Florida makes a move, to get a call from Florida. I expect Eli Drinkwitz, if Auburn makes a move, to get a call from Auburn. I have zero idea what his interest level would be in any of those jobs. I think he is much happier at Missouri now than he was 2 or 3 years ago. Had any of those programs called him after 2022, I am very confident he would have left. Had any of those programs called him after 2023, I think there's a decent chance he would have left. After 2025, I do not know if that will be the case. We had this conversation on our message board today, which is why I'm bringing this up. If he leaves, it is not going to be financial. He is a top 10 paid coach in the sport. Missouri can get close enough to match. Like, he's making 9.25. If someone says we're going to pay you 12, Missouri would pay him 12 or close enough to 12 that the reason he's leaving is not money. If he were to leave, the only reason is exactly what Cody just said about Lane Kiffin. That is a tacit statement from him. I don't think I can win a title here, and I think I can there. It's the only reason he would leave. It is like, look, I'm not in his head. I don't know. I think Missouri's every bit the job Florida is right now. He might not. If he leaves, that's why. That's how these guys think. They want to be at a place where they think they have the path of least resistance to standing on top of the mountain of the sport. And so, look, I don't think Penn State makes much sense. I just don't see Eli Drinkwitz as a coach in the Big Ten in Pennsylvania. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the power of that program is enough to overcome it. I don't think so. I think he is an SEC football coach largely, or an SEC adjacent. Like, we're Dabo to leave. Yeah, I'd be a little concerned about Clemson, but that type of program. So Penn State, I don't think. But again, there's only one dude on the planet who knows the answers to this, and neither one of them. That one dude is not sitting here on this YouTube show.
Sounds like you've already got like half the column written if you were to leave.
No, I really don't. There have been times I've had those columns written. I really don't. But like, that's the only reason it's not money. That's it, man. If he leaves, that's why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen coaches do it all the time, right? Like Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU because he thought he could win a title at LSU. Nick Saban specifically picked Alabama because he's like, I know I can win a title there. They'll give me exactly what I need. Right. Like there's a reason Urban, when he decided to he stopped coaching at Florida and then he decided on Ohio State because he knew he could win at Ohio State. Harbaugh picked Michigan.
Hilariously why Brian Kelly went to LSU from Notre Dame.
Yeah. And now, Notre Dame was in the national title game last year. So, hey, sometimes life's full circle funny like that.
Right. But, and again, like, I don't want to we're having this conversation now because I don't want to do this every week. I don't want to do it every day of, hey, do we need to worry about this school calling Eli Drinkwitz? Yes, if a school has an opening, you need to worry about them calling him because they're going to call him. And then what he thinks of that is up to him, and we'll cross that bridge if we come to it. So
yeah, there's different levels of worry as coaching vacancies because, that's like certain schools will call him and you don't have to worry about it. Certain schools will call him and maybe you should, but there's not every coaching vacancy is made equal.
And like me, I won't worry about it at all, man. If it becomes a thing we have to spend time on, we'll spend time on it. But I can't do it. I can't do it every day in October, but did want to address it. There's probably some other questions we didn't get to, but hey, man, that's life. A lot of stuff happening this week. I don't know. Anything else you got?
For the fans who are still listening, like, Missouri's a good team, like, believe in them. But I think this week is going to tell us a lot about the makeup of this team. And I think that'll be important for the lens through which we view and cover this team moving forward.
Yep. A ton of stuff, guys, on the site today. We had basketball media day. Drew King's got some stuff from that. SEC predictions came out. Sean Williams been covering all the commitments. Cody had the rewatch. I had 10 thoughts. A lot of stuff today. So go check that out. Like, comment, share, subscribe while you are here, and get in touch with our guy, James Carlton. You need to live in Kansas, Illinois, or Missouri. But if you live in any of those states, get in touch with him. He's going to save you some money on your insurance. He saved me hundreds of dollars a year. He wants to save you hundreds of dollars a year, so you can just come on our YouTube shows and give us super chats with the extra money you save. So appreciate you guys doing that. We'll talk to you next time.